Hi, I'm Dolly. This is another itch.io slash itch.io, but I personally call it itch.io game called Shared Beauty. This game was a submission to Spooktober's 5th annual VN Jam in 2023. And as this is a darker game, there are some content warnings. If you're prone to being triggered, I highly suggest you take a look at the game page in the description. I also put some warnings up on screen. This game also contains flashing lights and graphical effects, so keep that in mind before watching. Please take care of yourself, and let's start. Soft, hazy sunshine envelops the village you grew up in. You can make out dewdrops on the grass glittering around you as you sit outside with your little sister, August? Aegis? It's a misty early morning. August blows into her hands, trying to warm them up before she rejoins you in tending to the bucket of laundry. Discard, my hands hurt. I know the water is cold, but we can't always boil it. We need to save the wood, understand? She pouts but mumbles a yes and continues. Your eyes wander until you see another seam about to snap on her clothes. It's only been a few weeks since you and your mother have mended them last. You bite your lip and look away. You wish you could provide more for August, but the last harvest wasn't good, only making the village and your family poorer. Important people only come around every once in a while to collect taxes, otherwise you and your people are on your own. Even the witch has left this place. You hear footsteps and look up. It's Mildred. You often hang out with each other. Guys, have you heard? The noble is coming. He sent his harbinger ahead to arrange his lodgings. What, to our village? But we're so far out. He's passing through. I hope he buys some of our wares. Millie, you have to be realistic, especially with nobles. They're not really the sharing type, are they? Oh, come on, you and your pessimism. It's not like we have anything else to look forward to, and they at least have to stock up on food and water. That's true. I just wish people like him would care more about us. As you try to warm your hands, you hear chatter and laughter growing louder. It's Feralda and her friends. Even after all these years of knowing her, you are still in awe of her beauty. She is pretty. I like the art. I like how like the eyes are pretty big, but I actually really like them. Very pretty art. Once they're out of earshot, Mildred sighs. I'm so jealous of her. It must be nice having those good looks. But I do have an admirer of my own, you know. Before you could ask her to tell you more, another woman traipses across the grass to join you. It's Siglind, looking as confident and reliable as always. Admiring Feralda again. Ugh. She may have a pretty face, but don't you think she's a little slow on the uptake? Siglind grins and Mildred politely laughs. Oh, that's mean. You avoid Siglind's eyes. Don't you agree too, Isgard? You just shrug your shoulders. She gave me a cookie yesterday. I don't like what you're saying. The other two apologize half-heartedly. Trying to salvage the mood, Mildred claps her hands. So about the noble. Do you guys have anything you want to sell to him? I'm not sure. I don't think he needs a woven basket from us. We also don't have the sorts of things that a noble might like. I think your carved wooden figures look awesome, Miss Guard. Thank you, August. You pet her head and smile. She beams back at you. By the way, I also heard that the noble is single. Siglin snorts. Oh, come on. You looking to try climbing into his bed? Okay, damn. You smack Siglin's leg. August is still here. Siglin shrugs and rolls her eyes. You look back down at August. How about you leave the washing to me and go help out Mother in the house? Okay. She closes the door behind her and you sigh. Well, Siglin, now you are free to be your vulgar self. She snickers and slowly looks over Mildred from head to toe. Mildred frowns and starts to cover herself with her arms. Well, I guess you could try for a night and see if his conscience would make him stay with you. Wow. Who is this girl? Get away. Go away. Mildred slaps Siglin's back 3 times. You are disgusting. Ever since you got married, you have been so bold about these topics. She finishes the last sentence with another slap. Siglin just laughs and takes the blows in stride. Anyway, what I originally wanted to say is, she bends down a little and starts to whisper. What about showing off Feralda to him? Siglin and you look at each other, then slowly turn to Mildred. You mean as his potential wife? Look, we need to do something so our village can survive. Feralda is not married yet. She's our best bet to get someone wealthier interested in our village. I heard that nobles really care about treating their in-laws right. Helping out a village of commoners would be nothing to them. You all stay silent for a few seconds. Then Siglin furrows her brows and starts to scratch her chin. Do you guys remember the witch? Yes, of course. She's been gone for a while, hasn't she? Yeah, I'm actually glad. You never know when a priest will finally want to come visit us. Anyway, every time I went to buy medicine from her, it felt like her face had changed. In what way? Sometimes she had more wrinkles, sometimes she had less. She seemed more youthful before she left, actually, and her eyes seemed even prettier. I'm guessing she might have had a spell to become more beautiful. Why don't we try it out for ourselves, then? Look at the foundations we have. You think you could beat someone like Feralda just by making your base look nicer? Mildred looks clearly hurt, but doesn't say anything back. Your cheeks burn as your fingers curl around the fabric of your skirt. Who is this girl? Go away. Just so rude and mean. How is she married? Who is your husband? Or wife, I don't know. Well, there's also something else to consider. There might be some risks to that spell. One little setback for Feralda wouldn't hurt much, right? You look at Siglin with confusion. Don't think too hard about it. I'm just saying it's worth a try. I guess. Look, if you really want to make sure Feralda gets picked, then we should use magic to help. We could look in the witch's old cabin, find something that works. But we're not witches. What if the spell really does go wrong? Siglin shrugs her shoulders. People like Feralda can take that. She doesn't even wait for a reply before she just changes the topic. Mildred adjusts to Siglin's whims as always. You look back towards the door of your home. You think about August's clothes, about the fear you all feel whenever someone gets sick. How many times have you prayed for things to get better? Then you remember Feralda's smile. She smiles so often, even living here. She must get so many compliments every day. So many men stare at her when she walks by, leaving everyone else, leaving you, unnoticed. You knead your skirt with your fists. Yeah, Feralda can take the risks. She has it better than a lot of you. She could try and help out for once. You try to not think about how a commoner might be treated when marrying into a noble family, or how the noble themselves might treat their spouse. It'd be a good deal for her, right? She would like the idea too, right? What exactly do you know about her? You're not that close. Not anymore. With mixed feelings, you go to bed early that day. Okay. The next day. Someone is knocking on your door. It's Feralda. Feralda, hello, it's been a while since you've spoken to each other one-on-one. She's cute. Pretty. Got them big ol' eyes. Hi, sorry, are you alright? What's going on? It's Ermina. She's been coughing so much and it just won't get better. And today she even started having a fever. She only has her father left. Do you have any medicine for this? You shake your head. Feralda covers her face with her hands. Oh no, I already asked everyone else on the way here and they all said the same. It's all so frustrating. We have no priest here and even the witch has left us. What are we supposed to do? You pat her back and bring her a cup of water to calm her. This might actually be the perfect moment. Actually, do you want to go to the witch's cabin with me? Feralda looks at you in confusion. But she's not there anymore. Suddenly you're getting cold feet. How are you going to convince her to undergo a spell you've never tried before? You don't know if it even exists. You've just opened your mouth to take back your words when Sigland appears in the doorway. Excuse me, do you have some milk? My little boy got sick and I want to make some milk tea for... She pauses, staring at Feralda for a moment, then she looks to you. I didn't know that Feralda liked to visit you. Sigland, do you have medicine for coughing and fevers? Not anymore, sweetie. Was that what you were talking about? Sigland's sharp gaze on you makes you feel small and anxious. For some reason, Isgard asked me if I wanted to go to the witch's cabin. Sigland's eyes widen for a moment. You notice that she's trying to suppress the grin that is forming on her lips. Well, maybe we can find some medicine there. We can only hope the witch left something behind. A beautiful smile finally returns to Feralda's face as she turns back to you. Oh, that's why you asked. She takes your hands in hers. Guilt stabs you in your chest as you see her warm and genuine smile. Let's go, Isgard. This reminds you of her younger self. She used to pull you along just like she is now to play outside. You were both so carefree back then. How does Ferelda feel about that time after all these years? Is she sad you distance yourself from her? Does she know it's because you're jealous of her? Agree that you need to go now and can't waste time. Ask her if she remembers playing together. What? These are kind of strange choices. Ask her if she remembers playing together. That's such a weird thing to suddenly bring up. Agree that you need to go now and can't waste time. I mean, let's just go. I agree. Ermina needs medicine as soon as possible. So does my boy. Let's go. It'd be awkward to bring it up now, right? Feralda lets go of your hands, bringing you back to the present, and walks ahead of you. Yeah, it would be awkward to bring it up, right? I don't know. Sigland comes closer and whispers into your ear. You probably thought of the spell before the medicine, right? Not that I blame you. We can try and convince her there. Let's get Mildred too. Look at the ground and follow Sigland. On your way, you knock on Mildred's door to convince her to join you. It's very easily done. You don't even need to say much after she sees Feralda. Unaware of the question the three of you would soon ask her, Feralda walks with light feet into the forest. A stick snaps under your shoes as you wander along a pathway between the trees. Almost no sunlight filters through. The canopy is too dense, typical of the region you live in. Foggy days make it even harder to find your way. Thankfully, it's clear today. I like the monochrome backgrounds. They're very nice. Very nice and simple. After a bend in the path, you catch sight of the witch's cabin. Half hidden between branches and bushes, the eerie wooden house looms over you. None of the villagers, even the older ones, can remember when the witch first appeared. She was just there one day, along with her cabin. No one really trusted her, but no doctor from the city visited the village, and her medicine was certainly useful in their absence. The village grew to begrudgingly accept her in time, but then she disappeared without a word, leaving this cabin to be claimed by the forest. The old wooden door squeaks as you open it. The house's interior is unchanged despite the witch having been gone for months. There's no dust to be seen. By all accounts, it looks like someone just left for a walk. Seeing this unnerves you a little, but you force yourself to step further inside. The four of you carefully look through shelves and chests for clues. You decide to gather all the glass vials and bottles. Any idea what all these do? Not really. Maybe one of the books can tell us more? You guys can read? I don't know why that was so funny. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mildred. My uncle used to teach me before he left the village to become a priest. Does he ever send you money? Priest must have it a little better than us, no? My father doesn't seem to be getting along with him anymore. That's sad. What a pity. Anyway, I guess we'll gather some books then. A lot of the books you find are written in various languages you can't read. Nonetheless, you admire the craftsmanship behind each book, running your fingers over the pages. Then, Feralda finds one you can read. What does it say, Isgard? Charms and spells for the late Walpurga. You all gather close around the table on which the book lays. With utmost curiosity, you start to flick through its contents. The first page has a dedication to Walpurga. Your enemies are no more. Pages beyond, there are spells to find lost objects, give others nightmares, or make them fall in love. After much searching, you finally find it, the spell of youth and beauty. It instructs you to kill a dove and use its blood to purify a small shrine. The receiver of the spell should put their right hand on the shrine. The others should cut their thumbs and put their wounds to the receiver's lips so they can drink their blood. Afterwards, the wounded participants should hold hands in a circle around the receiver and chant together. Oh god. I'm not gonna even try and say that, but... wonder what... is that like an actual language? Now the question remains of how you convince Feralda to take part in this. And... so I haven't exactly found a list of all the potions she made, but... you take a deep breath and look to Feralda. I actually had another reason to invite you to the cabin. Feralda looks confused. Feralda, you, like all of us, suffer from the lack of resources we have in the village. You have a kind heart, so it hurts you even more that we can't get medicine for people like your poor sick friend Armina. But you're beautiful, Feralda. You always have been. You might have a chance with the noble who's coming soon. And with the noble's favor, you can make life better for Imurna and everyone. Feralda only looks down and sighs. I am not sure. In the end, I'm also just a peasant. What does that have to do with this cabin? Be proactive and explain, let the others explain. Maybe we're friends, right? I can explain. Even though this is very... not okay. Siglin said that just before the witch left. She suddenly looked younger and more beautiful. But she didn't completely change. It was just like she had improved on what was already there. We wanted to come here to see if she had left anything behind, a potion or a spell which she had used to beautify herself. And I think I've just found it in this book. Siglin looks satisfied. Siglin then puts her arm around Feralda's shoulders. If the witch uses the spell herself, it must be safe for us, for you to try. With her magic and your beauty, any noble would surely fall for you. But please, Feralda, our hopes rest on you. As his wife, you could ask anything of him, for food, clothes, medicine, all that we have gone without for so long and more. Maybe even a priest. You would help everyone. This is awful. Feralda takes a deep breath and then looks at you with conviction. All right. I'd rather do something than nothing. You avoid meeting her intense gaze. Now tell us what we have to do, Isgard. Repeat what you've read to them. A dove? We would have to go back to the village and see if anyone has caught one. Feralda looks around the cluttered cabin and disappears into another room without another word. Much to everyone's surprise, she comes back with a dead dove. Seems the witch liked to keep stocked with the ingredients she needed for her spells. It's curious that the dove doesn't show any signs of rotting. Is there still magic in this cabin, keeping the witch's ingredients fresh? I hope it doesn't have to be freshly killed. After taking a small knife from the table, you prepare the shrine, and the three of you position yourselves around Feralda. You flinch when you have to cut yourself, and put your thumb on her lips. It's clear she's uncomfortable, but she bravely continues and takes a sip. This isn't great. We're all ganging up on this poor girl. After she takes in a drop of blood from each of you, you start to chant. The room shakes slightly, a breeze plays with Fralda's hair, and for a second you think you see flower patterns glowing in her eyes. Uh-oh. Whispers fly past your ears, and then complete silence. You wait for a few more seconds before you feel safe enough to move. Did it work? Well, something just responded. Fralda looks at her hands and then stands up. Do I look any different? Not sure. Maybe it takes time to show. Siglin looks frustrated and turns away from Fralda. I hope that is the case. With a slight feeling of hope, you start to look through more books to identify the potions. Two are meant to treat coughs, at least. Sigmund and Fralda take one each before you return home. Riddled with anxiety, you take a long time to fall asleep. For the next few days, you, Sigmund, and Mildred observed Fralda in minute detail. Her hair has become much more vibrant. Her skin has lost any trace of dryness or the small scars she gained from all the work she does. Men turn around even more whenever Fralda walks past them. Soon the four of you gather together in a corner of the village where almost no one goes to talk about the plan. You were successful, Fralda. I think so too. So, okay, what do you even talk about with a noble? I'm gonna teach you some interesting topics, don't worry. When is he arriving again, Mildred? In 3 days, I think. That means we can try and befriend the maids working for him in advance. Siglin puts her hands on her hips. I say we prepare some good food to win them over. Sounds like a plan. You say your goodbyes and return home. A few days later. The whole village watches as the noble and his entourage arrive. He steps down from his strong white horse to survey his surroundings. The village elders immediately surround him. Honorable Odin. Odin? You grace us with your presence. Odin puts his hand up to stop the elders from speaking. Ooh, cute. It's pretty art. Look how pretty the jewel is. He sighs. We can skip the formalities. Where's my harbinger? Harbinger. Harbinger steps forward and bows. I am here. Is there any hope for some fitting lodgings? Svastil shakes his head. So it's another night in the tent. Elder, do you have a large field we can use? The elders look at each other. Siglin steps forward before they can reply. There's a lot of space next to our house, Honorable Odin. Noble fixes her with an icy, indifferent stare. She immediately bows her head. I did not give you permission to speak, but I suppose it's no matter. I am in a permissive mood today. Men, prepare the tents and follow the woman to the site. His entourage follows. Siglind as she begins to make her way to the field. She steals glances at you, urging you to join in, so you, Mildred, and Ferelda walk alongside her. You all start to whisper. Damn, you're not even a good royal. You're not even nice. Siglind, are you out of your mind? You know how easily a noble can punish us. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, my dear. We are trying to get him to marry a peasant. Reach the field and Odin's men immediately start building the tents and sleeping places for themselves. A carriage brings up the rear with rich furnishings to be placed inside Odin's tent. The men look well trained and carry leather armor, bows, and swords. Makes you feel anxious to see so many armed men in your village. They'll be busy for a while, so let's come back later after they're done. A few hours later. Do you think my current appearance is enough? You'd all put your best skills to use to dress up for Elda. She would definitely outshine everyone in a normal village festival, but the noble's taste is unknown to you. She's cute. Too bad something awful is probably gonna happen to her. Ferelda, it's gonna be okay. Trust our judgment. You take a deep breath and approach the maids nearby. Can we help you with anything? The maids look up in surprise. Oh, we would be very happy about that. As you can imagine, we need plenty of water and food. You look at your friends with a smile. We had heard from the Harbinger what you would arrive and prepared some things beforehand. The maids are immediately in a merry mood. A lot of bread, water, and diluted wine is brought by the other villagers and wheeled into the encampment. You look bitterly at the bounty of food. You know that your village will only be eating 1 meal a day for the next week, just so you can supply the noble and his entourage. The more elaborate dishes are brought to a table in front of a big tent. You're told the noble's taste tester is there. Is that the one who has to test the food for poison, even out here? Siglin shrugs. I guess you never know where your enemies hide when you gain power. Siglin looks at you and Feralda. I think Feralda would be too nervous to speak if she went alone. Isgard, ask if you're allowed to bring one of our pies to him. You slowly nod in response. Your heart starts to beat very loudly. You pray that the noble is still in a good mood. Hesitantly stepping forward, you approach the table with Feralda in tow. The taste tester looks at you with utter annoyance. What do you want? We would like to bring one of our best pies to the Honorable Odan, especially our dear Feralda. She admires him. Feralda nervously fiddles with her hands. Taste tester scans her from head to toe. I see. Well, I guess having something to look at should be alright by him. It calls for one of the men, a knight who looks to be in charge of the others. Good day to you both. I am the captain here in service of the Honorable Odan. If you want to get closer to him, you'll have to go under inspection. If you are not willing, I suggest you leave. You nudge Feralda. She now looks at the captain, whose eyes widen slightly as they assess her. We are quite all right with it, thank you. Yes, I think his lordship would be pleased as well. He searches both of you, and as uncomfortable as it is, his hand never stays in one place for too long. You and Feralda exchange a glance, and she relaxes slightly. I am done. Wait a moment, and I will ask if he wishes for this pie in your company. He disappears into the noble's tent and soon returns. He is fine with this. Taste tester, if you will. Taste tester slowly sits down, sighs heavily, and takes a bite. It's quite delicious. Neither of them move. You can't help but stiffen in place. Anything strange? No, they're clear. With that, you are guided to Odan's tent. Odan sits comfortably on his bed. He doesn't turn his head or try to meet your eyes. You can leave the pie on the table. You set the pie down while you give Feralda a soft nudge, urging her to step forward. She waits silently in front of him. After what feels like an eternity, Odan finally deigns to look at her, briefly in annoyance before shock overtakes him. The noble is entranced within moments. What is your name? Feralda. How old? 22. He slowly rises from his bed, circles around her, and then sits at the table in front of her. Wouldn't it be alright, Feralda, if you grant me your company while I eat? Ask Feralda if you should stay, leave silently. I don't know. I'd ask if I should stay, because that's kind of like a nice thing to do when you want. I would probably ask if they wanted me to stay, because being alone with a man you don't know, pretty scary, even if this whole plan is to get them together. So you don't even dare to look in Odan's direction. You know his asking only for Feralda's company was a sign to leave, and you don't want to risk a noble's anger. But still, you feel like you need to ask at least. You gather your courage. Feralda, will you be alright to stay here alone? Feralda smiles and squeezes your hand. Yes, thank you for asking, Isgard. Satisfied, you quietly leave the tent. You wait anxiously for hours in your home with Mildred and Siglin discussing the day's events. Finally, as the daylight begins to fade, Feralda returns. She looks happy and sports a slight blush on her cheeks. Well, well, well. Looks like we have half a pair of lovebirds here. Feralda sputters and shyly looks away. Mildred cautiously clears her throat. He wasn't rough with you, I hope? No, no, he was really quite patient and kind. He explained why he's traveling through here and asked how my life is in the village. He smiled a lot when we were talking. Siglin laughs loudly and slaps Feralda's back. I knew you could do it. Look how you tamed that big old noble with that cute face of yours. You all sigh with relief. It's all right to continue like this. Feralda is going to be all right. You are going to be all right. Everything will be all right. Yeah, surely nothing bad will happen. You wake up early the next morning. With a yawn, you stretch your arms and push the hair out of your face, but then you feel something thin stuck between your fingers. Your eyes slowly wander towards your hand. Your skin feels thinner and drier than usual, and on your palm are several strands of loose hair. You immediately stand up, stumbling towards a bucket full of water to check your reflection. Your face looks fine, and so does your hair. At least at first. August stirs and rubs her eyes. You open your mouth and close it again. You can't bring yourself to admit what is happening to you. Instead, you shake your head and tell August to go back to sleep. She blinks, yawns, and lays back down. With everyone asleep once more, you sneak your way outside and throw away the strands of hair. Why would you be losing hair? No one in your family has lost their hair this early in life. Just then, an old woman walks by. It's Jonhild, one of the few elders who are still alive in the village and a very dear person to you. Oh my, why are you already awake, my dear? Child like you needs sleep. You smile and greet her. I'm already 22, Jonhild. You'll always be a child to me, my dear. Did you have a nightmare? You start to nervously knead your hands. Something like that. Actually, Jonhild, is it possible to lose hair at my age? Jonhild tilts her head, inspecting you closely. That's very unusual, my dear. Maybe you are stressed? Has something difficult been troubling you? Maybe how you feel about your acts toward Feralda? You hesitate, then shake your head. You feel ashamed just thinking of the possible dangers you have exposed Feralda to. No way would you be able to confess that to Jonhild. How about you join me in my knitting tomorrow? I was going to make some scarves for the coming winter. That sounds very nice. I'll be there. She softly pats your hand and smiles. Take care, Isgard. With newfound warmth in your heart, you return home and do your usual chores. The next day, when you arrive at Jonhild's home, you can already smell hot herb tea and pie she has prepared. You enjoy a sweet conversation with her while you eat. After you finish, Jonhild prepares the wool and needles. You take a seat. As you pick up your knitting needles and prepare the first row of knits, your fingers start to hurt. You suck in a groan before your gritted teeth and shake off the wool. To ease the pain, you slowly open and close your hand. The joints hurt when you flex your fingers. Are you alright? I don't know what is happening, Jonhild. My hands hurt. I've barely started knitting. You swallow hard to hold back your tears. Oh, poor dear. If only we could visit the witch, or just had a village doctor. She gently hugs you and caresses your back. You choke back a sob. You are not alone, my dear. I'm here with you, all right? You draw in deep breaths to calm down, and after a minute you break away to look at her. Her face is full of worry, and she takes your hand in hers. Isgard, to be specific, do your joints hurt? Yes. That only started well after I turned 50, my dear. You bite your lip. Tear rolls down your cheek. Jonhild sighs sadly and rubs your palms with her thumbs to soothe you. Drink tea often and try to take a walk outside every day. I know when we are scared we want to hide away, but you have to be kind to your own body and keep it moving. Especially now. Can you do that for me? You nod. Good. But I also think it's alright if you take it easy for today and get some rest. Tell your mother that it was on my recommendation. You return home and tell your mother what Jonhild said. What? But tomorrow we're all going out to collect berries. Do you think you can at least carry a little? I'm sorry. She sighs. You can sleep today at least. There's nothing pressing right now. You agree and head to your room to lay down. You've been sick before, but you've never feared what was happening to your body so much. What if tomorrow it hurts even more? You lay awake in bed with fear in your heart. Doesn't everyone do that? You have a little pain and then you're like, I'm dead. This is it for me. You follow the other women of the village to collect berries in the forest. Your mother, true to her word, had given you a small basket. Soon you spot Mildred and Sigmund and move to join them. Sigmund is looking much more tired than usual, and Mildred's hair looks thinner. Last few days, were they also strange for you? I think my back is hurting more than usual, and my skin is so dry. In my case, it's my arms. They don't seem to be as strong anymore. I almost let my son fall. Sigmund covers her face with her one free hand. He had never seen her so weak and afraid before, not even just after childbirth. My hair is slowly falling out, and my fingers hurt when I tried to knit. Jan said those things only happened to her when she was in her 50s. Sigmund looks terrified. Wait. No. But we're aging faster, aren't we? No, we can't. I need to be strong. My son can't take care of himself yet. Sigmund, not so loud. She forces herself to calm down. Thankfully, no one has noticed her outburst. Have you guys seen anyone else looking weak or sick? Maybe there's something in the water of the well? Shake your head. So does Sigmund. So only those of us who gave their blood to Feralda are getting worse. You all turn your heads to look at Feralda. She's full of energy as she forages with the others. Her hair, her skin, and her light movements all look bright and lively. You try to ignore the churning in your stomach when you look at her. Push yourself to focus on the berries. It's a spooky image. Her eyes being all red. Face it, Isgard. Don't try to look away. We don't know what it is. Feralda just did what we told her to. Yeah, and it all worked out well for her. Look at her. Young, pretty, healthy, with a kind noble as a future husband to boot. How about we look in the witch's cabin again? Maybe there's a way to undo the spell. But we did all that to make sure the noble falls in love with Feralda. What if we undo it and suddenly the noble has no interest? What about the village? We'll go to the cabin and decide after we read how to do it. Understood? Her fierce gaze makes you take a step back. You pause, but ultimately nod in agreement. Why did she need to look younger when she was already looking good as she was? What was the point of doing the ritual or whatever? I don't understand that part. That same night, the three of you ransack the cabin until you finally find the book again. Just why wasn't it in the same spot as before? Before you can think about it, you try to concentrate on your more pressing issue. You leaf through the book, stopping once again at the page for the spell of youth and beauty. Brows furrowed, you carefully read it again, continuing to the next few pages. It contained notes of past experiments the witch made until the right words for the spell were found. And then, at the bottom of the last page, you find a paragraph on reversing the spell itself. Read it, hurry! I used a test group and made them give their youth and beauty to one of the other members. Observing them made it clear that the ones who gave their blood aged faster. A verbal reversal spell was not enough to stop the process. The only method I've found so far is to kill the one who drinks the blood. After the receiver's death, the others slowly recover. Maybe it's like damming a river. More testing will be needed. All of you freeze in silence. Well, yeah. Isn't that how it goes? For what feels like an eternity, you can only hear the wind and animals outside. Mildred starts to shake her head. But Feralda just did what we told her to. So we are aging a lot faster, and we don't even know how much time we have left. Sigmund slams her hands on the table. I can't die so soon. What about my child? Who's going to take care of him? I want to see him grow up. I want to be there for my husband. I can't leave them behind. She takes a deep, shuddering breath. It's decided. As unfair as it is to Faralda, we need our lifespans back, and you will tell no one about this, understood? You're about to say something, but she grabs your wrist so hard it hurts. Try telling someone and see what you'll make me do, Isgard. Terrified, you mumble some sort of reply. Siglin lets go of your wrist, and you all step outside in silence. You return home with leaden feet and a heavy heart. As you shut the door, you could swear you heard a snicker in the wind. Uh-oh. Is a witch still around? Next morning, you almost let the axe fall onto your feet while chopping wood. How are the elders doing their daily tasks with such weakened bodies? Siglin visits you after breakfast. She brings you behind your home, out of sight from both the villagers and the visitors. Isgard, meet me later in the forest by our usual spot. We need to discuss something. Can imagine what it is about. Alright, I'll be there. Around dusk, you return to the forest to meet Sigmund again. This time, Mildred is there as well, looking just as uncomfortable as you. Everyone's here. Good. So we need a plan. And no, we cannot leave Ferelda alive. Is this the conviction of a mother, or was this side of Sigmund always there? Was she always this ready to sacrifice others for her own survival? I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily her survival. She wants to be there for her child and her husband more than anything else, I think. So it's not terribly selfish of her. Isgard, any ideas? Well, it's kind of hard now because the noble cares about Ferelda. Getting her to be alone with us might be harder now, too. Mildred have anything to counter that? Maybe we can convince her if we say it's to make a surprise present for the Honorable Odin. Didn't you used to make flower garlands with Ferelda when you were kids? You avoid Siglin's eyes. Such an innocent memory, unmarked by your later jealousy of Ferelda, a time when you just enjoyed her company. And now Siglin wants to use that to lure Ferelda to her death? Are you listening, Isgard? Yes. Then invite her to go flower picking. Tell her you want to make a flower garland for the Honorable Odin with her. You take your time replying, but you know Siglin will only accept one answer. Still, you want to delay her plans if you can. But looking for flowers at night wouldn't make sense. Oh, right. Just get her to come into the deep woods then, near the cabin. We just need to push her face right into the earth so her screams won't be as loud. What a cold-hearted, matter-of-fact answer. Go now. Mildred and I will prepare while you get her. You turn around and walk back to the village. Will you really go through with this? Oh no. Me being who I am, I would want to save her because killing someone, I don't like that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna save her. Ferelda doesn't deserve this. You've always wanted the village to get better, even if it means you have to pay the price. You accept your new condition and begin to think. There's still time to stop the plan, but you have to be careful. You know Siglind won't forgive you for this. I'm more afraid of Siglind than the old spell. The getting old spell. You head to Ferelda's home, but she isn't there. Her foraging basket and shears are gone, so she is likely in the forest gathering herbs. You find Ferelda alone and wave her over to you. Oh, Isgard, what is it? I was just about to go home. I just had an idea for something that we could gift to his lordship as a surprise. Oh? Remember making flower garlands together? He would certainly be happy about getting one from you. You think so, but that was when we were younger. And girls only give those to the boys they liked. Well, I would say you two are really close now, no? All the more reason to. Yes. What a sweet reaction. You watch her with conflicting feelings. You want to cheer her on, but you also feel jealous seeing her happiness. kind, good-looking man, a rich one no less, giving her such attention and care. You know she is kind and thinks she deserves it, but it doesn't stop that lingering bitterness. And then there's this murky feeling of immense guilt that aches in your chest when you remember Siglin's words. Listen, Feralda, there's something I need to confess. What? You pull Feralda closer to you and carefully look around. Pull some of my hair. Feralda does so, confusion written on her face. See how it comes away with your fingers? That's how easily they fall out now. What? Are you alright? Feralda, there are other things happening, and it's not just me. Siglin, Mildred, and I all have noticed our bodies changing. We're aging faster. But how? Went back to the cabin and read more of the book. Apparently what the spell does is it gives you our youth and beauty. Feralda reels back, terrified, and rapidly shakes her head. No! No, 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 I would have never agreed to this if I knew. You've got to do something. I know. But Feralda, to reverse the effects we would have to kill you. It said it was the only way. And I'm here to warn you, because Siglind and Mildred are planning to try that way. But what shall we do? We need to find his lordship immediately. As a noble, he can give out judgment to us. That would mean, yes, Mildred and Sigrid would die, and maybe I would too. Feralda shakes her head and looks at you with determination. I can't imagine how much courage this took. I will convince Odin to spare you, since you have saved my life. The only problem is, I heard that today he is surveying the woods. I'm not sure why, but I think they're looking for bandits. You look in the direction where Siglind and Mildred are waiting for you. If you don't bring Feralda now, they're going to start looking for you. We need to be faster than them. We need his protection now. You and Feralda run. You hope that Siglind and Mildred wait long enough before they come looking for you. You look around and hope you can spot Odin's men. Should you scream to catch their attention? Would they mistake you for a bandit? But what if Siglind hears your scream? Oh shit. Just then something sharp and hard hits you in the back of your head. Oh, as you fall down and scream, you see Feralda falling with you. We both hit well, Mildred. Just when you struggled to stand up, your face is pushed into the ground, dampening your scream and filling your mouth with dirt. You hear Feralda struggling next to you as well, but whatever struck you both in the head has weakened you too much to break free. A pounding pain ripples out from where Mildred hits your skull again and again. Searing heat immediately envelops your whole head and distorts your face as you try to scream. You taste earth, grass, and blood from your wounds, bitter in your mouth. They kick and beat you. This is wild. And after a while they switch to smashing big rocks against your bodies. This is a lot. This is more than just killing. This is like torturing. You slip between hazy consciousness, searing pain, and dull recognition. Crunches and smashes sound further and further away, until finally there's only darkness. Well, that didn't go the way I thought it would. Ending. Snitches get stitches. Okay. That's fair, I guess. Okay, what happens if I agree with Siglind? Siglind is expecting agreement, and the spike of jealousy you felt earlier spurs you to join in. She always hesitates before answering questions. It's tiring waiting for her to keep up. You know you're just being mean, and you always feel bad joining Siglind's gossip, but you can't help yourself. Sometimes the men and elders of the village compare the other woman to Feralda. It hurts to hear their whispers, to see their smirks. It has always hurt. One time your own mother mentioned her beauty and said what a joy it must be to make clothes for her. She never said such things about you or your other siblings. Rather than being truly angry at Feralda, you're more angry at yourself for feeling like this. She gave me a cookie yesterday. I don't like what you're saying. Oh no, I'm sorry, August. The other to apologize as well. Now you're ashamed that your own little sister had to condemn your mean words. Let's ask her if she remembers this time. Remember playing together? Ferelda stops for a moment and thinks. I thought you were the one who forgot. Being a child and playing all day was fun. You remember making flower rings and garlands. You smile and nod. Siglin snorts. Yeah, you can reminisce later. We need that medicine now. All right. Let the others explain. You look at the other two and Siglin sighs. All right, I'll explain. The last time I saw the witch before she left this cabin, I noticed something odd. Her skin became smoother and her hair and eyes sparkled with youth. I thought she might have used a spell to beautify herself, and that she might have left it behind. Judging by the look on Ysgard's face, Siglin smirks. I think she's just found it. You nod. It's time we're leaving silently. Ferelda nods, and you slowly leave the tent. As soon as the tent flap closes behind you, a wave of guilt stabs you like a hot needle. The significance of leaving an unmarried woman alone with a powerful man does not escape you. That's what I was saying. Wish you had found a way to stay by her side. But like a rat, you rush away. Yeah. Gotta look out for each other, women. Girls, look out for each other. Okay, this time we're gonna kill Ferelda. You're terrified to know how fast you're aging. You want to live. Accepting what that means, you take a deep breath and make up your mind. Ferelda has to go. Since you were done here anyway, want to head a little further into the forest for those flowers? I guess. But do you think it's safe to go now? The sun is about to set. We grew up here, Ferelda. It should be fine. She thinks for a while, then nods. Let's go then. With heavy feet, you guide Ferelda further and further in, to where Sigmund and Mildred are waiting. You keep going in a certain direction. Are there better flowers out that way? Yeah, I know a good spot. Ferelda looks in a different direction. I know one too, let's go there. Before you can stop her, she's already walking the other way and fast. Ferelda, come on. I know a better one. Oh no, Siglin might misunderstand this. You need to walk in her direction, otherwise she might suspect betrayal. Ferelda shakes you off and then looks confused when she glances past you. What are Siglin and Mildred doing here? As you turn, you see Mildred lifting a huge rock and running till Ferelda. Idiot! You should have walked more slowly. Ferelda shakes you off and runs. Siglin aims and throws a rock at her head. It hits the target and Ferelda stumbles, but continues to run. Odin! Save me! You hear galloping sounds coming closer until suddenly a horse jumps between you and Ferelda. Odin's men surround you, Odin climbs down from his horse and hugs Ferelda. Why are you here? You know I'm looking for Bandit. It's not safe. He sees the blood on her head and instantly draws his sword, pointing it at you. Capture them and get every last piece of information out of them. 3 of you are tortured for hours. Mildred is the one who breaks and confesses everything. Your execution is to be held tomorrow. Wow. Never would you have thought that you would one day stand tied up in this village center where you've lived your whole life. Terror, panic, and shame all fill your mind. You can't bear to look up and risk seeing your family, especially August. Odin's men kick you down, making you kneel. Odin steps forward and salutes with his fist on his chest. I, Odin of Schwarzenberg, have been given the authority to care for and judge this territory. A grave crime was about to take place when we caught wind of an assassination plot against one of your very own kin and my future wife. People whisper among themselves in a mix of surprise and anger. Let this be a lesson to all evil out there. In the end, justice will prevail. Men your swords. Time stills. In one clean cut, your head is separated. In 1 second, an explosion of pain, but also nothingness passes by. Here you were born, and here you die. Ending. Justice prevails. You keep going in a certain direction. Are there better flowers there? Yeah, I know a spot. Memories of you playing with her when you were children flash by. Her smile, her laugh, her face when you started to ignore her. How she still treated you with kindness. You swallow down the lump in your throat and keep walking. And then, finally, you stand before Sigmund and Mildred. Oh, you guys are here too? Sigmund smiles. Yeah, we're also gathering flowers for his lordship. We heard of the plan for Misgard. You didn't need to help. You've already done so much. Three of you step closer and closer to Feralda. Sigmund and Mildred are holding stones behind their backs. Guys? You all immediately strike Feralda. You push her face into the ground, dampening her screams. The terror in her voice sends chills through you. You all hit her again and again, then kick and beat her when she falls to the ground. While you and Mildred continue, Sigmund smashes a big rock against her head. Feralda finally stops struggling. Now she lays still with a blank, empty stare. Blood slowly drips from her head and soaks the dirt around her. Mildred, get the shovels. In silence, you clean up and bury her. Hours later. As Feralda's family waits in vain, Odin and his men search far and wide. At first, it seems like they'll never turn up with anything. Days pass. But then, sending the three of you into a panic, Odin's hunting dogs find the body. You all do your best to act normally for the news. The brutal state of the body, they seem to be looking for a man, with some guessing that it was a bandit's work. But since none of the villagers have seen her alone with a man other than Odin, and no bandits have been found, his search for suspects goes nowhere. They also can't determine when exactly she died. Did she get lost first and then murdered a few days later? Or was she killed on the same day she went missing? You listened for any signs that his investigation has made progress. None arrive. After a few days and no clues, they hold her funeral. The whimper, sniffles, and weeping from the onlookers stab you like 1,000 needles. Your face darkens. Despite your mental scars, your body itself is doing much better. Your hair and joints grow stronger every day. Feels like your mind and body belong to two different people now. Ferelda's coffin is raised on a stage for all to view her. Surrounded by flowers, the villagers are leaving for her when they pay respects. You couldn't bring yourself to leave an offering. Nearby, you spot Sigmund holding her child in her arms. She hugs and holds him much more now. Next to her, Mildred watches the funeral with a blank face. She reaches down to smooth her skirts, and you notice her hands are shaking. Your eyes wander to Odin. He looks like he has lost the world. Odin has paid for all the funeral arrangements, including bringing in a priest to bless the body. It's a lavish goodbye. After the people have gazed upon Feralda's peaceful face for the last time, she is moved from the viewing stage to be buried. As the priest gives his blessing, Feralda's ornate coffin is carefully lowered into the ground. The funeral ends, and only whispers can be heard as everyone slowly leaves. You will live on, but of beauty only memories remain. Ending Lost Love. You continue to run for a while. With your lower stamina, exhaustion soon takes over, and you both stop to catch your breath. Can you see anyone? No, I don't. I guess they're not looking for you yet. That's good. Let's at least walk slowly, just to be on the move. You both support each other's weight as you walk. After a few tense minutes that feel like hours, you finally spot Odin's banner. Odin, I'm here! You get scared in case Sigmund is nearby. Then you notice Odin's banner approaching very quickly through the trees. Odin gallops into view. He brings his horse to a stop and immediately climbs down to hug Feralda. Why are you here? We're looking for bandits, Feralda. It's not safe. I know, but we really needed to see you now. Can we talk alone with Isgard? He narrows his eyes at you but nods. You walk a bit further away as his men fan out, surround you to guard the area. Feralda takes a deep breath. Please don't think too differently of me when I tell you all this. Odin looks concerned. Feralda confesses the whole story, including the spell. You tremble as Odin considers her words. I can assure you, your lordship, that she was always beautiful. The spell only improves what is already there. He sighs and raises his hand to silence you. Feralda, if I only cared for your appearance, you would not have held my attention for this long. It will be all right. I'm here for you. A single tear rolls down Feralda's cheek. She wipes it away and smiles. Thank you, Odin. But this means that they are after your life. Turns to his men. Seize the two women named Sigland and Mildred, and secure the uninhabited cabin nearby. There's dangerous objects inside. Yes, sir. You lead one half of the men to the cabin, while Odin and Ferelda lead the other half to look for Sigland and Mildred. Time speeds up into a blur as the day's events unfold, as Odin and his men exchange information and set up guard posts. It only slows once, when you hear Sigland and Mildred's screams in the distance. Everything is quickly prepared for the trial. People gather in the village center to witness the honorable Odin's judgment. Odin's men have tied up Sigland and Mildred and led them to the center. Mildred cries as Sigland glares at you with utter fury. Please, please, spare me, you fucking traitor. I will haunt you your whole life, Isgard. I will drag you to hell. Same for you, Feralda. To hell. Silence. Odin's men kick the woman down, forcing them to kneel. Odin steps forward and salutes with his fist on his chest. Let this be a lesson to all evil out there. In the end, justice will prevail. Men, your swords. They raise their blades. Time seems to stand still. And one clean cut, Sigland and Mildred's heads are separated. They fall with a dull thud. No one dares speak out loud while Odin's men clean up. Many cross their hearts and whisper prayers. Feralda comes over and hugs you, trying to bring you comfort. You just feel empty. In the next few days, you are announced as a witness who uncovered the assassination plot and are honored with special protection by Odin. You notice that some of the villagers have started to avoid you, mainly Sigland and Mildred's families, but others are simply glad that Feralda is unharmed, so in turn they have started to help you, especially since your signs of aging have become more apparent. Odin explained your condition to the people as a result of an accident in the witch's cabin, and asked them to be as careful with you as they are with other elders. You publicly announced this as the reason for why the witch's cabin is now also under investigation, to take away any dangerous spells and weapons for the people's safety. Months pass and you slowly return to your daily life. Odin and Ferelda marry. The village starts getting more resources and care. Your plan has worked, and Sigland and Mildred are dead. It feels strange to watch it all happen like this. Yonhild chats with you as much as she can, but you can't bring yourself to look at the pain in her eyes, or in the eyes of your family. August still looks teary every time she sees you, and your heart aches every time you see her. As the months go by, the pain begins to fade, but it never fully goes away. And then one morning, you notice your face has gotten more wrinkled, and some strands of your hair have gone white. A few teardrops fall into the bucket, distorting your reflection. You don't know if you're crying because you fear death, or because you hate your changing face so much, or because it's just overwhelming to see so much time passing in an instant. It's all become too much sometimes. You're not sure what to make of yourself anymore. And then one day, Feralda calls you to Odin's home. When you arrive, it's Feralda who welcomes you and invites you to her room. As you enter, she immediately helps you to a chair. It embarrasses you that it is now so obvious that you need assistance. Odin is there as well. He looks down on you with cold eyes. Hello, so-called savior. Each step he takes towards you makes you feel smaller, but Feralda places herself between you and him. Odin, could you please work on your expression? I see no reason for me to fix how I look in front of her. But you're being threatening towards my savior. Looking like a scolded puppy, he pouts and backs off. Feralda sighs. You said you were grateful to her. I admit I am, but I'm also conflicted. She was involved with the plot, after all. How else do you want her to tone, though? To that, Odin can't seem to find an answer. Something like pity flashes through his eyes as he looks at your aging body. Anyway, that isn't why I called you here, Isgard. I actually have some news. She sits down next to you and caresses her stomach. I'm pregnant, and you see, we plan to name the child after you, if it's a girl. Aw, look at how much older she looks. So she can be as brave as you. Feeling of serenity overcomes you. So you'll keep remembering me? Of course. I've been so afraid, Feralda. Every day I'm reminded that I will soon disappear, but I'm just bearing the consequences of my own actions. I thank you for honoring my life like this, Ferelda. Of course, Isgard. And thank you for all you've done for me. She hugs you, and you share a quiet but warm afternoon with each other. Ending legacy. I enjoyed this. There's a lingering sadness when you realize there is no fairy tale happy ending. You did something not with the purest intentions, and now you're suffering the consequences, and there is no easy way out of that. Um, a couple of the endings were pretty brutal and not what I was expecting. Even though the warnings are always there, and that's why you should take warnings seriously. I really enjoyed this. I did, yeah. So, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you in my next video.